Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. If you're a man in your 60s or 70s or even just crossing into your late 50s, this episode was made for you. Because tonight we're not talking about prescriptions or gimmicks. We're talking about something far more intimate, far more real. That quiet moment when the bedroom grows still, not with peace but with distance. When the silence between you and your partner feels heavier than words, when you begin to wonder, is this just how it ends? But here's the truth I want you to hold on to. Intimacy doesn't have an expiration date. Connection isn't a privilege of the young, and feeling like a man strong, engaged, and alive is something your body still remembers. It just needs the right invitation. Over the past 3 decades, I've worked with thousands of older adults who felt their spark fading. And what I've seen again and again is this: it's not age that steals your desire. It's inflammation, it's poor circulation, it's hormonal imbalance, and yes, it's disconnection from your own body. But there's good news, because sometimes healing begins not with a breakthrough drug, but with an old, familiar oil you probably saw in your mother's cabinet. We'll get to that in a moment. First, a small request. If this message speaks to something you've felt but never said out loud, if you believe it's time for men like us to talk about vitality without shame or silence, then take a second to tap that like button. It may seem like a small click, but trust me, it tells us loud and clear that these topics matter. It gives our team the energy and purpose to keep creating more content that speaks directly to you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because we're just getting started. Now, what if the first step to restoring connection didn't begin in your mind, but in the body of the woman you love? Let's begin there. Benefit number 1: restores vaginal moisture and softens skin. Let's begin in a place most conversations never dare to go. Because while much of the world talks about testosterone, performance, and blood flow, the quiet truth is, many of the couples I meet aren't struggling because of a lack of desire. They're struggling because intimacy has become uncomfortable, sometimes even painful, for the woman they love. It happens slowly. After menopause, estrogen levels drop, and with it, the body's natural ability to maintain moisture and elasticity in intimate tissues. The skin becomes thinner, drier, more delicate, and what used to feel natural and bonding now feels awkward, distant, or even avoided. I've had men in their 60s and 70s sit across from me and say, "Doc, it's not just me. She says it hurts. She doesn't feel like herself anymore." And I've had women quietly, with downcast eyes, admit that they feel disconnected from their bodies, as if a part of their womanhood faded without warning. This is not about vanity. This is about comfort, confidence, and connection. And here's where castor oil enters the picture, not as a cure-all, but as a gentle, natural support your partner's body may desperately need. When applied externally, just a few drops of cold-pressed, food-grade castor oil to the vulvar area before bed, this oil penetrates deeply, restoring hydration to dry, irritated tissue. Its anti-inflammatory and antifungal properties help calm discomfort while nurturing skin repair and elasticity over time. No chemicals, no hormones, no prescriptions. Just nature working in quiet harmony with the body's innate intelligence. And the results? Many of my female patients have told me they began to feel like themselves again. Softer, more sensitive, more open physically and emotionally. It wasn't just about sex. It was about reclaiming ownership of their body, and with that, the possibility of closeness without fear or discomfort. And for the men, when your partner feels safe in her own skin, everything shifts. Walls lower, conversations open. And sometimes, for the first time in years, you hold each other not out of habit, but out of something real. Of course, restoring comfort is only the first step. Because the next piece of this puzzle involves you and the part of your body that's been slowly, silently disconnecting without your permission. Let's talk about that next. Benefit number 2: increases blood flow to intimate areas. Now let's turn the focus inward to your own body. Because one of the most common yet most overlooked reasons for fading intimacy in men over 60 is this: reduced blood flow to the areas that matter most. I'm not talking about disease or dysfunction or something broken. I'm talking about what naturally happens as we age. Blood vessels begin to stiffen, circulation slows, and before long, what used to happen easily, a surge of energy, a sense of fullness, a confident response, becomes less reliable, more effortful, or in some cases, missing altogether. It's not about desire. It's not about love. It's about the quiet reality that if blood isn't flowing where it needs to go, your body simply can't respond the way it once did. But here's where castor oil becomes more than an old folk remedy. When massaged gently into the lower abdomen or inner thighs before bed, castor oil helps stimulate microcirculation in the pelvic region. This isn't magic, it's biology. Castor oil contains a unique fatty acid, ricinoleic acid, that penetrates deeply through the skin, relaxing blood vessels, reducing local inflammation, and encouraging the release of nitric oxide. And if that molecule rings a bell, it should. It's the same mechanism many pharmaceutical solutions, like erectile medications, rely on to open up blood flow. But unlike those quick fixes, this method is gentle, side effect-free, and supportive over time. No racing heartbeat, no headaches, no pressure on your liver or kidneys, just a nightly ritual that reconnects you to your body inch by inch. Many of my patients have told me that after a few weeks of consistent use, they began to notice something subtle yet profound, a feeling returning, a confidence rebuilding, a response where there had once been silence. This isn't about performance, it's about presence. And when your body begins to feel more alive again, even in small ways, it changes how you move, how you connect, how you walk into a room with your partner. But there's one more layer to all this. Because good blood flow opens the door, but something deeper is needed to step through it. Let's explore that next. Benefit number 3 stimulates libido through relaxation and touch. Let's pause for a moment, not on chemistry, but on something more human. Because the truth is, even if blood is flowing and hormones are balanced, desire doesn't always follow. Why? Because libido isn't just a physical process. It's emotional memory, safety, and touch without pressure. It's the feeling of being wanted and of wanting, not out of obligation, but out of connection. But here's what I've seen in countless older couples. Over the years, touch fades. Not because the love is gone, but because life becomes routine. The hugs become quick, the hands stop reaching, the bed becomes for sleep, not closeness. And slowly the spark dulls, not from lack of fuel, but from lack of tending. This is where castor oil becomes more than a topical remedy. It becomes a ritual, one that invites you back into your body and your partners without expectation. When used as a massage oil before bed, castor oil encourages intentional, caring touch. Its warmth and texture relax tense muscles, soothe the nervous system, and foster a sense of safety, both physical and emotional. Even a few quiet minutes massaging the shoulders, lower back, or thighs can release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. That alone can shift the emotional climate between two people. From distant to connected, from numb to noticed. And here's what might surprise you. I've had couples in their 70s come back and say, "Doc, we didn't even mean for anything to happen. But after a few nights of those quiet massages, something came back." They weren't chasing sex, they were rediscovering affection. And through that, desire returned without force, without pills, without pressure. So if you've been feeling distant, not just physically, but emotionally, let this be an invitation to reconnect through gentle presence. Not performance, because the body responds best when it feels safe, and when that feeling of safety is in place. The deeper systems of the body, hormones, energy, vitality, begin to shift too. That's what we'll explore next. Benefit number 4 supports hormonal balance in aging bodies. Let's talk about the slow drift, the one you don't always notice until it's already happened. You wake up feeling just a little more tired. You move through the day with a little less drive, and somewhere along the way, the desire that once felt automatic begins to fade. It's not your fault. It's not weakness. It's hormonal shift, and it happens to all of us. For men, testosterone declines steadily after age 30. For women, estrogen and progesterone drop off dramatically after menopause. And with those changes come fatigue, irritability, poor sleep, low libido, even a loss of confidence that's hard to explain. But here's something few people understand. Your hormones don't just vanish, they get stuck. And often the problem isn't production, it's clearance. You see, the liver plays a central role in processing and eliminating used or excess hormones. And as we age, that system slows down. Toxins build up. Hormone metabolites linger. And that delicate internal rhythm, the one that governs your energy, mood, and desire, begins to unravel. This is where castor oil becomes a powerful ally. When applied to the lower abdomen or liver area before bed, castor oil stimulates both lymphatic flow and liver detoxification. Its deep penetrating compounds help activate circulation in the tissues that manage hormonal balance. And the result? Many of my patients, men and women alike, have shared stories of quiet but profound change. A sense of steadiness returning, mood swings softening, energy no longer crashing mid-afternoon, and in many cases, a subtle, steady rise in natural libido without pills, patches, or hormone creams. This isn't about trying to feel 20 again. It's about coming back to yourself, balanced, centered, present. And when your hormones begin to cooperate again, something else often returns with them. Something millions of people over 60 silently crave every night. Let's talk about that next. Benefit number 5 enhances deep, restorative sleep. Sleep is the silent pillar of health, and when it cracks, everything above it begins to fall. For men and women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, sleep often becomes more fragile than ever. You lie down tired, but the mind won't stop, or worse, you drift off only to wake again at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling in a house that feels too quiet. By morning, you're groggy, heavy, fogged in. And that weight carries through the day in your joints, your memory, your desire. Because without restorative sleep, your body can't repair, your hormones don't reset, and your emotional resilience, that quiet strength that makes you feel like yourself, begins to fade. But here's something you may not know: your nervous system needs a signal that it's safe to let go. And castor oil, when used the right way, can help send that signal. When gently applied to the eyelids, temples, or even the soles of the feet before bed, castor oil activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest, digestion, and deep repair. It's not a sedative. It doesn't force your body to sleep. Instead, it invites your body to soften, unwind, and slip naturally into that deeper rhythm it's been missing. The ricinoleic acid in castor oil soothes nerve endings, reduces low-grade inflammation, and may even support melatonin release, your brain's natural sleep hormone. Combine it with calming essential oils like lavender or chamomile, and you've got a ritual, a message to your body that it's time to slow down. I've had patients tell me, "Doc, I started falling asleep before I even knew I was tired." And others say they no longer wake up in the middle of the night, or if they do, they drift back with ease. And when sleep returns, everything else follows: energy, mood, sexual desire. Because nothing heals the body faster than a night of deep, uninterrupted rest. But for many of my older patients, even sleep isn't the only obstacle. There's another enemy, slow, creeping, and often ignored, that quietly robs you of ease, mobility, and the joy of physical closeness. Let's address that next. Benefit number 6 reduces inflammation in joints and pelvic muscles. You can feel young in your heart. You can still want closeness in your soul. But if your body aches every time you move, intimacy can start to feel like a burden. And I've heard it again and again. "Doc, it's not that I don't want to, it's that my hips hurt. My lower back locks up. I can't get comfortable, and that ruins the moment." This is the quiet cost of inflammation, not the kind you see in a swollen ankle, but the deep, chronic kind that builds up in your joints, muscles, and connective tissues as the years go by. And nowhere does it do more hidden damage than in the pelvic region, the very area that supports your core, your mobility, and your sexual function. But here's what I've seen work again and again for older adults who thought discomfort was just their new normal: castor oil. Applied directly to the lower back, hips, and inner thighs, doesn't just sit on the surface. It penetrates deep into the tissue, easing muscle tension, reducing stiffness, and improving circulation where it matters most. Ricinoleic acid, the oil's active compound, acts like a natural anti-inflammatory, calming overactive nerves, relaxing fascia, and softening those tight, stubborn areas that make even a gentle stretch feel like a chore. For added benefit, I often recommend applying a warm compress after massaging the oil in. The heat drives the healing deeper, allowing the oil to settle into the muscles and lymphatic channels. And the results: men who had trouble bending without bracing themselves suddenly find ease in movement again. Women who avoided certain positions because of tightness or pain now feel free, confident, and physically open to connection. Because when your body feels comfortable, your mind can relax. And when your mind relaxes, intimacy isn't something you plan, it becomes something you welcome. But there's another part of the body that's often ignored, one that holds incredible power, especially for men and women looking to rebuild strength from the inside out. It's time we brought that into the light. Benefit number 7 strengthens pelvic muscles and nerve health. This might surprise you, but some of the most critical muscles for intimacy are ones you rarely think about until they stop working like they used to. I'm talking about the pelvic floor, that deep network of muscles and nerves that supports your bladder, your bowels, your core, and yes, your sexual response. When these muscles weaken, as they often do with age, surgery, childbirth, or long periods of inactivity, you may start to notice subtle but frustrating changes. For men, it might be less firmness or difficulty maintaining an erection. For women, it could mean reduced sensation, discomfort, or even urinary leakage during moments that used to feel safe. And for both, a quiet loss of confidence that follows into the bedroom and beyond. But this is where castor oil becomes more than a surface-level solution. When applied to the lower abdomen, pelvic region, or even gently around the perineum before bed, castor oil helps activate circulation and reduce inflammation in the very tissue that supports pelvic function. Its natural compounds may promote nerve repair, improve oxygen delivery, and restore communication between brain and body. The kind of connection that makes you feel in control again, not at the mercy of your body. I often pair this with a simple recommendation: gentle pelvic floor exercises like Kegels done daily, even just for a few minutes. And when combined with nightly castor oil massage, the results can be striking. I've had patients tell me they feel more stable, more grounded, more responsive, that they no longer worry about accidents or awkward moments or the slow fade of sensation. Instead, they feel strength where they'd once felt hesitation. And that strength, quiet as it may be, becomes the foundation for deeper confidence, both in and out of the bedroom. But there's another system working behind the scenes, quietly influencing your energy, desire, and ability to show up fully in life. And when it's sluggish, everything slows down. Let's address that next. Benefit number 8: eases constipation that interferes with intimacy. Let's talk about something few people want to admit, but nearly everyone over 60 deals with at some point: constipation. Not glamorous, not romantic, but very, very real. And if you've ever tried to enjoy closeness while feeling bloated, cramping, or backed up, you know exactly how it can shut everything down. I've had patients tell me, "Doc, I just don't feel right in my body," or "I'm too uncomfortable to even think about intimacy." And they're not wrong. Because when your gut is stagnant, your posture suffers, your nerves tighten, and your abdominal pressure increases, all of which make physical connection feel more like a chore than a pleasure. But here's the hopeful part. Castor oil has been used for centuries, not just as a laxative, but as a digestive aid that works with your body. When massaged gently into the abdomen before bed, castor oil stimulates the lymphatic system and encourages bowel motility. Its warmth and texture relax abdominal muscles, reduce bloating, and help your digestive organs reset their rhythm. No need to take it internally. No need for harsh cleanses, just a slow circular massage, ideally in a clockwise direction, following the path of the colon. Some patients have told me they sleep more comfortably. Others say they wake up lighter, clearer, and perhaps most importantly, more emotionally open. Because when your gut is at ease, your whole nervous system softens. You stand taller, you breathe deeper, you feel more like you again, and that feeling of lightness, presence, and freedom is the perfect foundation for rebuilding not just intimacy but self-esteem. Which brings us to something deeply personal, something you see in the mirror every day but don't always speak aloud. Let's explore that next. Benefit number 9: rejuvenates skin and boosts self-confidence. There's something unspoken that happens as we age. You glance in the mirror, maybe just for a second, and wonder, where did I go? The jawline softens. The skin thins, lines etch themselves across your forehead, beneath your eyes, and around your mouth. It's not vanity, it's identity. Because for many men, how you look shapes how you carry yourself and how you feel in your own skin. And when the face staring back at you no longer reflects the man you feel inside, a quiet insecurity can creep in. But here's the truth: aging is natural, yes, but surrendering your self-respect is not. This is where castor oil steps in, not as a miracle cream, but as a tool for restoration, both physical and emotional. When applied nightly to the face and neck, just a few drops of cold-pressed castor oil can deeply hydrate the skin, improve circulation, and promote natural collagen support. Its ricinoleic acid acts like a natural emollient, softening fine lines, reducing puffiness under the eyes, and fading the appearance of dark spots over time. It doesn't bleach, tighten, or mask, it nourishes, and that nourishment does something deeper than skin deep. I've had older men, stoic, quiet types, tell me they didn't expect much. But a few weeks in, something shifted. They didn't just look better, they felt better. More grounded, more vibrant, more willing to engage with their partner, with the world, with themselves. Because self-confidence isn't about looking young, it's about seeing strength in your own reflection. It's about showing up to your life, not hiding from it. And when you begin to stand taller, other systems in the body take notice. Hormones shift, breath deepens, even intimacy becomes less about effort and more about presence. But there's another system, quieter, deeper, that fuels everything from energy to desire. And when it's sluggish, the fire dims from the inside out. Let's turn to that next. Benefit number 10 boosts immune health, critical for sexual energy. Most people think of the immune system as the body's defense against colds, flu, or infections. But in truth, it's so much more than that. Your immune health is deeply connected to your energy levels, hormone balance, mood stability, and yes, your sexual vitality. Because when your immune system is overworked or sluggish, your body diverts energy away from things like testosterone production, nerve sensitivity and arousal, and toward basic survival. I've seen it firsthand. Men who seemed tired all the time, who blamed age or stress, were actually battling chronic low-grade inflammation. Their lymphatic systems, the body's drainage network, were congested. Their detox pathways were overwhelmed and their libido flatlined, but there's a way to help reset this foundation. Castor oil. Applied over the lower abdomen or used as part of a warm castor oil pack can gently stimulate the lymphatic system, clearing out waste, excess hormones, and toxins that accumulate with age. Research even shows that castor oil packs can increase lymphocyte production, those hardworking white blood cells that support immunity and overall balance. This kind of support has a ripple effect: less inflammation, more stable energy, clearer skin, improved hormone regulation, and in many men, a surprising return of physical desire. Because when your body feels clean and clear from the inside out, it begins to trust itself again. And when that happens, your entire sense of vitality, including how you experience intimacy, comes alive. But there's one issue that continues to trouble so many men I meet. It's private, it's frustrating. And for many, it's the reason sleep, intimacy, and self-confidence all begin to fall apart. Let's address it head-on next. Benefit number 11 relieves men's prostate discomfort naturally. Let's speak plainly. For many men over 60, the prostate becomes a daily reminder that something isn't quite right. You feel the pressure at night when you're up 2, 3, even 4 times to urinate. You feel it in the hesitation, the stop-and-start flow that makes every trip to the bathroom feel like a test of patience. And sometimes you feel it in the bedroom, where discomfort and distraction edge out desire. This is the quiet burden of benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, an enlarged prostate. It's not cancer. It's not dangerous in the immediate sense, but it steals something precious: ease. And for many men, that loss of ease becomes a loss of confidence. But here's what I've seen over years of practice: small, consistent actions can offer real relief. And castor oil is one of those unsung tools. When massaged gently into the lower abdomen, pelvic region, or over the bladder area before bed, castor oil delivers 2 key benefits. First, its anti-inflammatory properties help calm irritation in the surrounding tissues. Second, it stimulates lymphatic drainage, reducing internal pressure and supporting more balanced circulation in the region. For many men, this means less urgency, less nighttime waking, and a greater sense of control over their body. And no, it's not an instant fix. But week by week, the change builds: more comfort, deeper sleep, a stronger sense of physical autonomy, the kind that spills over into every corner of life, including the way you connect with your partner. Because when your body stops whispering discomfort into your ear every hour, you can finally tune into something more meaningful: presence, connection, even pleasure. And as powerful as that is, we still have one more discovery to make. One final, surprisingly simple ritual that touches everything from your gut to your brain to your bedroom. You won't want to miss this. Benefit number 12: belly button bedtime trick for whole body vitality. Sometimes the most powerful tools are hiding in plain sight, and in this case, it's your belly button. That little indentation where your life once began holds more than sentimental value. It's connected to countless nerve endings, micro blood vessels, and energy pathways that reach deep into the body, to the digestive system, the liver, the reproductive organs, and even the brainstem. And yet, most of us haven't thought about it in decades. But here's what I've found. When just a few drops of cold-pressed castor oil are applied to the belly button at night, something subtle yet remarkable begins to happen. Patients report falling asleep faster, waking up with less bloating, feeling emotionally steadier, more grounded. Some even say they experience more vivid dreams, a deeper connection to their body, and a quiet sense of restoration they hadn't felt in years. The science behind it: this small region serves as a central gateway for nervous system regulation. It sits close to major lymph nodes just above the small intestine and directly over the abdominal core. So when you gently stimulate this area with castor oil, you're inviting your entire body to reset from gut health to hormone balance to emotional clarity. It's not magic, it's anatomy. And yet the effect can feel magical, especially for those who have spent years chasing complex solutions, when what they needed was a moment of simple care repeated with intention. So tonight, as you lie down, try this, warm the bottle in your hands, place 2 or 3 drops into your navel, cover it gently with your palm, and breathe, not as a treatment, not as a task, but as an act of reconnection. Because at this stage of life, vitality doesn't come from chasing youth. It comes from returning to the wisdom of the body, one small ritual at a time. Now before we wrap up, just one request. If this episode gave you insight, comfort, or even a moment of reflection, please tap the like button. That simple gesture tells us this content matters, and it gives our team the encouragement to create more science-based, heartfelt episodes for men like you. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Leave us a comment, share your thoughts, your questions, even your story, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a conversation, and your voice matters. Until next time, sleep well, live fully, and never stop showing up for yourself. This is Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and this was the Prescott Lab Podcast.